What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Swift tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a basic primer to DispatchQueue and concurrency in iOS. So this is a really important concept that a lot of people struggle with, and it's so important. I can't stress it enough, and it's very common in interviews, and I think rightfully so. So here we are on Apple's own documentation about DispatchQueue. There's a bunch of things in here. We're going to take a look at the core difference between the main queue and a global queue with various background quality of services. But a quick high-level kind of overview what the heck this thing is. I'm not going to read this to you guys. You can Google it. But basically, in any software application, you need to execute your code either on the main thread or in a background fashion. So you can imagine any type of user interface update you want to do is on the main thread, and any type of data fetching you want to do should be a background job. So with that in mind, let's smash that like button down below together for the YouTube algorithm. Get excited, get Xcode ready, and let's jump into a playground to get started. Quick pause before we get into the video. If you haven't seen it already, I am hard at work putting together iOSacademy.io, a community where all of us iOS engineers can come together, learn how to build some of the top apps like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, in addition to interview prep to land some of these iOS roles at top tech companies. So if you're interested in the free and premium content to come, head on over to iOSacademy.io and enter your email address in the waitlist form, and you will be notified as content becomes available. That said, let's get into the video. Alright, so we're going to first start in a playground, and then once we get a good fundamental understanding of what dispatch queues are, we'll jump into a project and look at two real-world applications. So I'm going to start by creating a playground. We'll stick with a blank playground. We can leave the default name. And once Xcode decides to stop being slow, we're going to expand our window and get into it. I love how Xcode decides to be slow in all of my videos, but here we are. So let's zoom in a little bit here, and let's start talking about dispatch queues. So the big thing that I really briefly touched on at the beginning of the video is the concept of understanding the main thread versus background thread. And threading is abstracted away from us Apple developers, whether you're building for macOS or iOS and watchOS, and they're abstracted to this thing called dispatch queues. And dispatch queues basically allow you to submit code execution to either a main queue or a background queue, and Apple basically executes that queue work in that format, whether it's main or background. So let's just see what the syntax looks like. So if we want to do some work, let's create a function called foo. And if we want to do some work on the main thread, we would say dispatchQueue.main, and we're going to say async. You could actually do sync here also. Now I'm not going to cover the difference in this video because it's going to get a little long, but basically we can call this foo function in here, and we have to say self dot because this is a closure, and this function gets executed on the main queue. So that's the basic syntax of it, and we'll discuss what the heck this means in 2 seconds. And this is complaining because we actually don't need it in the playground, but in a application we will need it. But similarly, let's take a look at dispatch queue for a background queue. So we're going to say dispatch queue, and we're going to say global async, and we can again call foo. So a background queue actually leverages the global queue Apple provides, and the work that we do in here, we can actually provide a quality of service parameter, QoS, and you can basically specify to Apple what level of importance, what quality of service do we want for the work that's going to be executed in this block, right? So if you look at the options here and the associated descriptions, which I guess are not showing up in this case, and the actual Xcode project will show up, you have things like user interactive, user initiated, defaults, background, utility. I don't know why they're redundant down here, but they're the same ones that are up here. But basically, if you have work that's initiated by the user, like something where the user initiated some task, the system, logically, the name implies, will prioritize the work executing here because the system knows the user initiated it. However, it'll still be done in a background fashion, whereas anything done on the main queue is done almost immediately. So if you guys would have to guess, all user interface updates, are they on the main queue or the background queue? And the answer is the main queue. And the reason for that is when a user is swiping or tapping or touching or anything on your actual display of your iPhone, iPad, or whatever, you never want the experience to be choppy. So you want to always do UI stuff in the main thread. And whenever you have operations going on like downloading data, fetching images, any type of async operation where you're basically calling something and expect a completion to come back, those types of jobs use a global queue and specify generally a quality of service. Most often than not, it's just background. And the reason you do that is because you can basically dispatch that workload to kind of behind the scenes. And once it's done, we can dispatch any UI updates back to the main thread. So let's say we were fetching some type of data. So like fetch data from API. And then once we have the data, let's say we wanted to update some label or some user interface. Once we have the data, we could call back to the main thread and say, update UI. So you could technically call the update UI code here as well. However, you'll see warnings in your console in addition to not necessarily getting those user interface updates appearing on your device right away. And the reason is, like I mentioned, main thread is prioritized because it's your main, and this is running in the background. So this concept of concurrency is extremely important. It's the fundamental of any software application, and it's a super popular interview question, especially if you want to get into the likes of Google, Facebook, Microsoft. This is such a fundamental. So that said, let's actually close up this playground and hop into a Xcode project, and we're going to see a real world application and how the heck this actually plays out in a real project. So I'm going to stick with a single view application. We'll call this iOS Concurrency, and we can stick it on our desktop. And it looks like I got to duplicate one because I was testing something before this video. We'll go ahead and replace it. That's okay. And let's go to our view controller and look at a real world example. So oftentimes in our applications, we need to fetch data from an API and show it on the user interface. And that looks something like the following. So let's say we have another function that is called getData, and in here we have a URL session task. So we're going to say let task equals URL session shared, and we want a data task with a URL and completion, which is this first one here. We'll say URL, and the completion takes data response and error. And let me go ahead and close up this right panel just to give ourselves a little more room to work. And let's also put this back on one line. Let's create that URL up here. We'll say guard let URL is a URL, and we're going to create it with a string. This is kind of irrelevant for the purposes of the video, but let's just create a URL like that. And basically, once we create a task and we do resume on it, which kicks it off, we get this completion handler as a part of this URL session data task. And this is where our data will come in, and we need to unwrap the data and all that good stuff. But oftentimes, like I mentioned, once you get the data, you want to reflect it on the user interface. And an example that you can think of is like the YouTube app. When YouTube launches up, they need to go and fetch all the information about videos so they can render it. So in here, you would do something along the lines of guard let data equals data, else you can return. And let's say you have data. In our case, we'll do self.view.background color, and we'll just make it red. And let's just say data does not equal nil. Otherwise, we'll get that warning that we're not using the data variable. And basically, we're now calling this function. And let's see if we have any errors. Looks like we don't. And in viewDidLoad, we would call basically this getData function. And there's a couple problems with this code. So the first thing, let's walk through what's actually going on. So we have our view controller, right? And view.load gets called once the view for this controller has loaded, which does not necessarily mean, actually, it does not at all mean that the view is on screen. It just means it has loaded into memory. Once it has loaded, we kick off this function for getData. Once getData is called, we create this URL session data task with a URL, pass it in, it's an empty URL in our case. We provide a completion handler. And once the data comes back in the completion handler, what we go ahead and do is we update the background color of our view. So there are two problems going on here. The first one is we're calling self.view in here, and that causes a memory retention cycle. So we need to say weak self. And if you're not familiar with what this is, I just posted a video about this yesterday. So go ahead and take a look at that. And because we did weak self, we now need to do self optional, just so we don't cause a memory retain cycle. But in regards to DispatchQueue and concurrency, the issue that we're doing, or that we're causing here, is this completion handler actually gets executed on a background thread, and we're trying to update the user interface on said background thread. And the problem with that is, like I mentioned in our playground, a background thread is not executed immediately. It happens as a lower priority as opposed to the main thread, because everything on the main gets prioritized for the user interface. So what we actually need to do to fix this is explicitly say, update the UI, this UI property of color, on the main thread. So we would say dispatchqueue.main.async and throw that code in there. And now this is functionally correct, as well as in terms of your threading and concurrency. So why is this correct? The reason it's correct, like I mentioned, is on the main thread we call this this getData. GetData invokes this URL session data task, but the completion handler of the task occurs on the background thread. And once that occurs and we get some data back, we dispatch back to the main thread and say, hey, update the UI color. So you might be asking, how do I know that this happened on the background thread? And it's a really good question, and oftentimes people never learn the answer to this question. And the answer is quite simple. The answer is, if you think about it logically, when you want to get data from somewhere, do you just want to sit there and wait for the data? Or do you need to dispatch it, and after n number of seconds you may or may not get data? And the answer is the latter. So when you open up, let's say, Gmail or any app, you oftentimes see a spinner, and it takes some time to get the data, and the nature of the completion handler is the function will call the completion handler once the data has been returned, and once the data is back, you can use it. But this is the reason it's asynchronous and on a background thread, and we need to dispatch it back to the main thread, or main queue as the proper terminology is shown here. So the rule of thumb is, whenever you have an asynchronous style block like this for a closure, it's probably a good idea to assume that it is on a background thread, especially when you have something that's dealing with networking, which is by far the most common example. And yeah, that's basically, this example here is by far the most common one. You'll see it in interviews, you'll see it in your day-to-day jobs if you work as an iOS dev full-time, you'll see it in your personal projects, so on and so forth. So that said, let me just do one other thing. So if you, let's say, wanted to call some work on a background thread explicitly, and we did this in the playground, I'll just do it here too. Let's say we want to call background work, and here we can do call background work. What you could do in here is you can say DispatchQueue main, DispatchQueue global, and async, and you can do stuff here. And let's say you wanted to dispatch this with a particular quality of service, and here are those descriptions I was talking about in the playground, where you can see what each one is meant to be used for. So this tells you the quality of service for this class of tasks is related to this whole thing, blah blah blah. So it basically tells you like what each one is meant to be used for, and Apple manages the priority and the kind of hierarchy of which stuff should get done first, because the system is doing several jobs concurrently. So it'll manage all of it for you based on the quality of service that you specify. So that said, that's actually where I'll wrap up the video. Like I said, this is a very quick primer to DispatchQueue and concurrency in iOS. I actually have a couple other videos planned about things like dispatch group, NS operation queue, and a few other fundamentals about concurrency, as it's a very important concept, and I also personally think it's pretty interesting once you get into the weeds of it. So that said, if you haven't smashed that like button already, please make sure to do so for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you're new while you're at it if you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, comment them down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.